Hey everyone, so chapter 13 of the PowerShell tutorial series, we're going to talk about classes. And again, I'm following the documentation kind of created by the Stack Overflow community and GoKicker. So thank you again for providing that documentation. And we're just going to go through these exercises. If feel free to follow along with me. The link is in the documentation, and just paste into whatever PowerShell editor you prefer to use. I'm using a Visual Studio Code. But let's talk about the classes. So a class, to put it simple, is a form. Class, form, basically the same thing. Imagine this is, applying for a job and this is a W-9 form. What do you need to provide for that form? You're going to need to provide a name. You might need to provide an age. You might need to provide a gender, a social. You might need to provide a lot of parameters, okay? Or I'm sorry, a lot of properties or values to the form. The form is expecting the data a certain way so that the recipient can input it into their database. It's always going to flow the same way, and if it doesn't, it's really the user's fault that filled out the form, right? So a class really controls that I expect this object to have these properties. I expect this property to be, or this data type to be a string, and this data type to be an integer. That's basically what it is, right? So for name, we want to say this needs to be a string. This needs to be an int. This needs to be a string. And this needs to be a string. Okay? And now those are being injected into the form. And you have a property. So that will build this object. This object is what that class will build. Okay? And it kind of controls the elements and the properties in that. Okay? So let's jump into it. So in chapter 13, 13.1, it talks about constructors. What is a constructor? A constructor is kind of like a method where you're defining if I get input, these inputs, then I'm going to construct it this way. And if I get these inputs, I'm going to construct it this way. So you can basically what they call have overload definitions or overload all these sort of constructors and build different things based off the input provided. Okay, meaning that you might provide long tick, or you might provide int years, month, days, or you might provide data a certain way. And by doing so, we're going to construct the object a different way. Okay, so let's show you what that looks like. So if we do date time, and we do new, and don't put parentheses, press enter, here's all the options, right? Now, we're going to actually use example of the years, months, and dates because that's pretty easy for me. And then we're going to do new, and we're going to provide those values. So year would be 2020, 12, and 10. And there you go. Does that make sense? As you can see, everything matches. But what did they do to the time? Because I didn't provide a time, that's at 12 a.m. It's on the first second of that date. Okay? So if you provide time, then it'll change, right? All right. So again, constructor is just really building different objects based off what you provide. And we'll get into more later, but for now, just know that if you provide input a certain way, we might build that object a different way. Okay? All right, this is the same technique that you can use to list overload definitions for any method. What does that mean? Well, you see how they provided a string here and then did dot compare to? Let me show you what that means. So if we do something like blah dot get type, what do you think the type of this will be, this element? A string, right? So, right, this is a string. Now let's do get member. So we're going to do get member, which will give you available properties or methods that are related to that after the pipe for that object. So let's see. So all these methods are available, and as you saw, contains was one of the methods available. It's going to be a Boolean response, and it requires contains a string value. Okay. So now we know how to provide it what it needs. We can do contains, and then we provide a string. Let's do E. And we're going to get a Boolean response if it's true or false, which is false, because E is not in blah. But A is, right? So that's true. Does that make sense? Did you see how I got that? Okay, so again, you do get members to see available methods and properties. Let's see here. This right here just talks about if you have an earlier version, you might not have the access to the constructor function. So here's a function to do that same purpose if you're on earlier build of PowerShell. Okay. 13.2 methods and properties. So we're gonna copy and paste this. So feel free to do the same. And then we're going to do a new file and then paste it here. And yeah, this was not named as a PowerShell, so I wasn't getting all the colors, pretty colors I like. So let's clean this up. Person, good. This one needs to be here. This one needs to be here. And then this one is like that. All right, that looks better. So first we define the class by specifying class. Then we say person, which is the name of the class. The person is going to have a first name, going to have a last name, and we will have a greeting function. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. And then let's do this person new. And let's see what happens. So the overload definition, the only thing we have is new. So let's go ahead and do that. And we get a first name and last name, returned back to us. So let's do X. Let's copy the the example, person, new. So now those properties are in the X variable, first name and last name. I cannot add anything else like middle name equals test. See? Because it's being controlled by that class. Okay? And to also know that it's in the class, you do get type, and it's right here. Okay? So in this example, they're doing first name is Jane, last name is Doe. So let's run that. And then let's do X to see what the results is. And yeah, it's Jane and Doe, which is mapping out from here, right? And this is mapping out to here. Now, inside that class is X greeting, right? How do you find out what's available inside a class? So you can do get member. And also it's right here. Do you see it? It's right there. Okay, it's a method that's available to you inside this class. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do x.greeting, and we put parentheses. Greetings, Jane Doe. You see that? And how was it able to understand Jane Doe? Because it knows that object is already in the class, so it references this dot first name, and then this dot last name. This one is Jane, and this one is Doe. Okay? By specifying this, this just means within this construct. And this example, imagine a room, right? Imagine the object and everything resides inside that room. So if you are, if you have a function and you need to specify and pull variables and reference variables that's outside of your function, then you do this dot first name or this dot last name, which still is inside that. It references any variables that the function has access to those variables in that object. All right. Okay, let's go back here. Constructor overloading. So overloading, it's not a bad thing when you say overloading. When you see overloading, it sounds like a bad thing, but in the context of classes, it's not a bad thing. You are providing input a certain way, and we're going to do something with it based off the input. So imagine, let's say you have a constructor for URL links, and one could be a GitHub link, and another one could be another link or another link, and maybe they might have different URL styles or API styles, whatever. Now you can kind of define those API styles and based off what was provided or something like that. So yeah, you'll just run into scenarios where you might have multiple constructors basically. So let's look at this example. And put it in here. So we're gonna paste this. We're gonna clean up the code a bit. So this one was a person. This one, this one, this one. I think this one closes and this one close. Oh, what did he do? Yeah, that was it. What is going on? Open. Oh, it's already defined. That's fine. Okay. So now that this class is defined, let's do person. And we'll do new. So there's two different constructors available to us, or overload definitions. Okay. If we define name, let's see what happens. So we do new and we put Bob. So Bob is going to be Bob and age is 0. Okay. If we define an age, now the age gets returned as well. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. You can even do this age equals no, no. Yeah, so maybe let's do a static one just so you see. Maybe you want to do a default if nothing was provided. See? So maybe if they don't provide the age, you just put a default age or something. All right. 13.4, get all members of an instance. We've already did that. It's just really just get member and then dash input object and then an object instance. So I'll show you real quick. So let's do test equals something like this. Okay. So we have this information, and when you do get member, you're actually sending that object to the pipe, right? But if you just want to do it manually and not do it through the pipe method, then you do it through this method, which you do input object test. Same thing, right? This and this are the same thing. Okay? One's just coming through a pipe, which I like. The other way is specifying it directly. There might be just cases you might need to do it this way. Okay. 13.5, basic class template. So a class template, this is just, as it says, it's a basic class template that you can use. But we're going to actually build our own class. Just follow along with me. And I apologize if I go too fast, but you're free to pause the video and catch up. So we're going to build a Star Wars sort of class, okay? So let's do a class equals SW character, and then we're going to open and close curly braces. We're going to specify string name. We're going to specify string gender. We're going to specify int age. We're going to put alignment, which is their force alignment. Ooh, sorry. What did I do wrong? It needs to be string here. We're going to do also int for the midichlorian level, whatever that thing's called. I'll just call it M level, okay? And now that we have that, we have a class. Like, this is a class. It's a working class that you can use. And now, from here, let's do SW character new. Perfect. So let's do Yoda equals SW character new. So what's going to happen here? Well, you got all the properties, but with no data, right? Because we didn't provide data. How do we provide data? Well, you can provide data just directly by just doing providing the hashes inside a hash, or you can have constructors. So we're going to have a constructor. So we do Star Wars character, character, and let's say I provide the name, the gender, or age. Okay. Open and close curly braces, and then we're going to put this dot name is equal to that provided. This dot gender is equal to the input provided. This dot age is equal to the input provided. Now, here's the thing. You don't actually have to follow this. You can just say P1, P2, and P3, and it will still work, but you don't really know what you don't really know the context behind it. So it's always good to still put the names. Okay. So we'll run this, and what else we need to do? Let's do this dot alignment equals light side, and this dot M level is equal to get random 1 through 10,000, or I think 20,000. I think Anakin's 20,000 or something like that. Okay. So Yoda. Okay, let's build it. So we'll do Yoda is equal to Star Wars character, and we're going to provide those values new, and we're going to say name is Yoda, gender is male, age is, I don't know. I don't really know his age. Let's put 300. So Yoda is now a male, age 300, light side with an M level of 19,597. Hey, that's pretty good. He got a really high number. Okay. Okay. So let's look at the validation. So yeah, validate set. So let's go ahead and do that in our example. So let's do gender is going to be male and female. We want to validate this set and say that we only want male and female to be inputs into the gender field, okay? What else? Why is this erroring out? Unexpected attribute validate set. Oh, sorry. It's got to be up here. Apologize. It's got to be up here in the when you build the classes. Okay. So let's go and test that out. Yoda, and we'll do gender is equal to don't know. Right? Sorry, it's made me do that. See, it expects only male or female, so it tells you I only want male or female. Okay. So now let's do another validation. Let's do is it validate range? Yeah. And we'll do 1 through 500. Like that, maybe? Okay, does that work? All right, let's try it out. Run it again. Comma 500? There we go. So Yoda, age, doesn't work. Needs to be within the range. So 499 doesn't work. Oh, there we go. 500. 501 doesn't work. Okay. All right. So static hash tables. Okay. So a static hash table is basically some static values that aren't going to be provided by the user typically. It's just something that's static for that class. So you would do static string, I'll do movie, and we'll do equals Star Wars. Okay. We run it. If you do Yoda and do get member, it doesn't actually show up there. Look, it doesn't show up there. Movies doesn't show up there. Where is it? Where do you think it is? It's in the class. So you do Star Wars or SW character, and then you do movie. There you go. So it's in there. So you can do movie equals SW character movie. And then there you go, Star Wars. Does that make sense? Can you change it? Yeah, you can change it. But once you change it, it won't stay there. It's just in memory, and then if you run the script again, then it's going to change back to the initial settings. Okay. Does that make sense? It's just statically storing things that you might need as a reference point in the class. That way you can just call movie everywhere else. Okay. All right. Hidden. So you might want to hide things. You might want to hide the M level, the mitochlorin level, because you don't want bad guys to know or something. I don't know. And if you hide that, now you don't see the mitochlorin level. But it's there. If you specify, it's there. Also, you can do get member, and it's not here either. But it is there. You just have to do get member force. Okay? Type name constructor. Okay, we already constructed, so we'll skip that. Member method hash table. Okay, so there's also static methods that he referenced as well, which is basically a function you can call within that class. Do something in here. Let's call it convert alignment. Okay, and we're going to do something like this. If this dot alignment is equal, right? Dash EQ is for equal, is equal to light side, right? Light side. Then this dot alignment is equal to, what do you think? Dark side. Else this dot alignment is equal to light side. What do you think this is going to do? What do you think convert alignment will do? It's going to convert dark side to light side. Pretty simple script. So when we ran it, Yoda is on the light side, and then we're going to convert. Remember, we want to do get member. Let's look at it. Let's verify. Convert alignment is there. So let's convert his alignment. And let's look at what he has. He's now on the dark side. So let's do this. Convert alignment. And Yoda again. So you see he's converting. Light side, dark side, light side, dark side, light side, dark side. Okay? Instance method. Oh, that's what we just did. So, you know, building your own method and doing something with it, right? And that's going to be for the respective object. So remember, when I did the, if I do Yoda and I do get member, convert alignments there. If I do a static one, let me show you an example. Static, static, what was it? Static void, whatever, and then we need to put parentheses. If I do something like this, right? Host pong. We'll do ping instead. We'll do ping, ping pong. So watch. Star Wars character. Ping right here, right? Pong. Again, Star Wars character. You can put control, hold control and press space. It's not a shortcut, and you get like, you know, all the things available to you. So ping, and you get Pong, right? If you also do here, I think get member, it's all available. There's a lot of stuff though outside of that. But let's do Yoda. Get member. See, ping pong's not on there. It's only for the, we statically assigned it to the class and not to the object. What is available is stuff, if you don't define it like that, then something like this will get onto the object. Okay? All right, let's talk about 13.6. Let's see here. Inheritance from parent class to child class. So let's copy and paste this. So what this means is it allows you to inherit the parent class. So let's say we have a parent class and this message says it's under the parent class, get message, F this message. So it's basically we have a parent class and child class. A child class could basically inherit the same properties as the parent. Okay, so when we run all this, okay, you see that this is the parent class and the child class literally has nothing inside it. It's just the child class referencing the parent class. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to run this, and then we're going to run inherit equals child class, and then when you get the output of inherit, it says message it's under the parent class. Now, here's what else we could do. Under the child class, we can put string and put $child equals I am a child. Okay. So this is basically the child class. So we do it again. Inherit. You'll have two messages. I am a child, and it's under the parent class, right? So you can actually define additional values or anything, but retain the template of the parent. So there might be situations when you have a general sort of parent template you want to be used for all the child, and you don't want to define it every time for all the child. Reference the parent template, then define the underlying detail, properties for those childs. So there's going to be situations like that where you just want to reuse a template and then just add a few more properties to it, but don't really want to mess with the parent template. Okay? All right, this is it for classes. I hope you learned a lot, and please like and subscribe if you like this content. I'm going to be trying to get all the way to all the chapters, so be patient with me, and yeah, we'll see how far I get. But thank you for watching, and stay safe.